Hey everyone! Waving hand? Today, I'm going to share with you one of the most fascinating and intense stories to ever come out of the tech world. This isn't just a movie, it's a real-life drama about friendship, betrayal, brilliance, and a big idea that changed the world forever. We're talking about the social network, the story of how Facebook was created, and the man behind it all, Mark Zuckerberg. How did it all start with a failed date and end in a multi-billion-dollar empire? Who helped build it, and who got left behind? And what's the true cost of becoming the youngest billionaire in history? Today, you'll hear a detailed retelling of the film, recreating its atmosphere, key scenes, and emotional turning points. So sit back, get comfortable, maybe throw it on in the background, and let's dive in. Part 1. The beginning of the journey. Fall 2003. Harvard University. 19-year-old programming prodigy Mark Zuckerberg sits across from his girlfriend, Erica Albright, in a campus bar. The conversation between them is tense. Mark speaks rapidly, jumping from topic to topic: Harvard finals clubs, IQ scores, his tone laced with arrogance. Unintentionally, he insults Erica. Frustrated and hurt, she gets up and walks out. Her parting words sting. The breakup isn't because he's a geek, but because he's a self-absorbed jerk. Angry, humiliated, and upset, Mark returns to his dorm room. He sits at his computer and begins typing a bitter blog post about Erica, all while plotting his revenge, not against her directly, but against the entire Harvard social scene. That's how FaceMash is born. A website where students can rate the attractiveness of female classmates by comparing their photos side by side. Mark hacks into the databases of several Harvard dorms, extracts student photos, and launches the site. It spreads like wildfire, thousands of hits within hours. FaceMash causes an uproar. University servers crash, students are outraged by the site's objectification of women, and the administration quickly shuts it down.
They're gonna send it to.
Mark is called before a disciplinary board. He isn't expelled, but now the entire campus knows his name. The FaceMash incident catches the attention of Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, along with their business partner Divya Narendra. Members of an elite Harvard final club, they have an idea, a social network exclusively for Harvard students called Harvard Connection. They recruit Mark as their programmer, trusting him to build the site. Mark agrees, at least officially. But soon, he starts working on his own project. He doesn't tell the Winklevosses that he's developing Facebook, a new social network, inspired by their concept, but fundamentally his own, more ambitious and intuitive version. Part 2. The launch of Facebook and the arrival of allies. Mark begins building Facebook from his dorm room. His closest friend and roommate, Eduardo Saverin, is an economics major. He believes in Mark's idea and agrees to invest the first $1,000, becoming a co-founder.
Hey Mark, I need a little more money.
How much more?
About 200 more. Gotta handle the traffic.
Do it.
Eduardo handles the financial and business side of things, while Mark disappears into code. On February 4th, 2004, the site goes live. At first, it's only available to Harvard students. The success is immediate. Within 24 hours, hundreds have registered. Facebook quickly becomes cool, exclusive, and prestigious. People want it because it's limited, elite, and insider. As the site's popularity skyrockets, the Winklevoss twins and Divya Narendra begin to suspect that Mark has misled them. They try to contact him and demand meetings, but Mark keeps delaying, claiming that progress is being made, all while secretly developing his own platform. They're furious, but they still don't realize just how far things have gone. Meanwhile, Facebook expands to other universities, first Yale, then Columbia, then Stanford, and more. Mark starts to feel like he's created something truly massive. At this point in the film, a second timeline begins. We see legal depositions taking place years later. Eduardo sues Mark. So do the Winklevosses. In these scenes, Mark is colder, more distant, and the audience starts to piece together how their relationships unraveled. Returning to the chronological story, the site keeps growing, but Eduardo becomes concerned. He wants to start monetizing, adding ads. Mark doesn't want to rush it. To him, scale, reach, and cultural impact matter more than short-term profits. This becomes the first real fracture in their friendship. They're still working together, but already heading in different directions. At a party in California, they meet Sean Parker, the charismatic, slightly eccentric co-founder of Napster. Sean immediately captivates Mark. He speaks like a visionary, claiming Facebook isn't just a website, it's a revolution. He mocks Eduardo as a boring banker, positioning himself as the one who can turn a startup into an empire. Part 3: Sean Parker's Influence and the Break with Eduardo. Sean Parker is experienced, charismatic, and manipulative. He knows how to speak in grand terms about the future, vision, and exponential growth. He convinces Mark that monetizing too early is a mistake. The true value of Facebook, he argues, lies in its purity, exclusivity, and its potential to become the thing the world can't live without. It's Sean who suggests dropping the article, from the name, leaving it simply as Facebook. Just Facebook. It's cleaner, he says. Mark is captivated. Unlike Eduardo, who thinks logically, cautiously, and strategically, Sean feels like someone from the future, someone who truly gets it. Gradually, Mark begins to listen to Sean more than to Eduardo. Meanwhile, Facebook's growth continues to explode. It spreads across dozens of universities and soon expands beyond academia. Mark decides to move the company's operations to Palo Alto, California, right into the heart of Silicon Valley, where everything happens. He and his friends rent a house and turn it into an informal startup headquarters. Sean becomes an unofficial mentor. He shows up more often, starts attending meetings, and even conducts business on behalf of the company, despite not holding any official title. Eduardo begins to feel pushed out, unnecessary. When he travels to Palo Alto, he's shocked to see that his place has already been taken. Eduardo still considers himself a co-founder. He signs paperwork, without fully understanding the consequences. Later, it becomes clear, those documents were part of a calculated plan to dilute his shares in the company. Meanwhile, Sean is negotiating with investors. Soon, Facebook secures its first major investment round, from Peter Thiel. The company is now officially on its path to becoming a billion-dollar enterprise. Then comes one of the film's most emotionally charged scenes.
Wired in. About now, you still wired in? You issued 24 million new shares of... You set me up. My name's on the masthead.
You might want to check again. This company?
Sorry, my Prada's at the cleaners! Signing those papers.
The signature.
And I'll bet what you hated the most is that they identified me, which I am. Because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
Eduardo, now back in New York, receives documents showing his stake in Facebook has been reduced from 34% to almost nothing. Furious, he flies to California, storms into the office, smashes a laptop, and demands answers from Mark. Mark doesn't argue. He doesn't defend himself. He just sits there, silent, watching, with a look of total detachment. Eduardo sues. Part 4: Legal Battles, the Moral Cost, and the Finale. We return to the timeline of the legal proceedings. In a quiet room sit lawyers, the Winklevoss twins, Eduardo, and Mark himself. Mark is distant, almost indifferent, shielding himself behind sarcasm and curt responses. He's no longer the college kid building a website in his dorm. He's now the man who built an empire, and lost everyone he started with. In one of the deposition scenes, Mark admits to the company's attorney. If you have an invention that changes the world, but you don't get it out there first, it doesn't matter. People won't remember you. He doesn't express guilt. He's convinced he did it all himself. His eyes show logic, calculation, cold progress. But behind the genius facade, a quiet loneliness starts to show through. Meanwhile, the Winklevoss subplot unfolds. They sue Mark, accusing him of stealing their idea. Their lawyers cite emails, missed meetings, deliberate deception. Mark counters, an idea is nothing without execution. They had a vision, he built it. Still, the lawsuit ends with a settlement. The Winklevoss twins receive a substantial payout and drop any future claims. The arc of Sean Parker also reaches its conclusion. He's caught up in a drug-related incident at a party. Though no formal charges are filed, Mark distances the company from him. Even Sean becomes just another temporary ally Mark has to leave behind. In the final moments of the film, we're left alone with Mark. He sits in a conference room, alone. The lawsuits are over. The settlement's paid. Facebook is at the top of the world. Mark opens his Facebook profile. He types in the name, Erica Albright, the girl where it all began. He sends her a friend request. And he refreshes the page, again and again, in silence, alone. End scene. The film ends not with a triumphant crescendo, but with a quiet moment of alienation and personal loss. Despite the billion-dollar company and global success, Mark is alone. His story is one of power, betrayal, ambition, and the price that must be paid for it all. And that's the story, a story about how a single idea, born out of personal frustration, evolved into a global network that changed the way we live, connect, and think. The Social Network isn't just a biopic about Facebook. It's a film about the cost of success, the complexity of relationships, betrayal, and loneliness in an age when we're all supposedly more connected than ever. As for Mark Zuckerberg, he achieved everything, except, perhaps, the one thing that matters most: real human connection. If you enjoyed this deep dive recap, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let me know which film you'd like me to break down next. And remember, sometimes, even when we hit add friend, we're still alone. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Waving hand.